I bet you've had this conversation before. Someone asks you, can you prove that people are actually reading our blog content? So you look at your analytics and you see page views, maybe lots of page views. But page views only tell you that a page is loaded. That's it. They don't tell you if anyone saw a single word of your carefully crafted content. So I built something to answer that question. I call it content consumption, and today I'm going to show you exactly how it works and how you can set it up on your own site. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Dana DiTommaso. I help marketers and communicators like you solve real analytics problems you encounter every day. If that sounds like something you need in your life, please make sure to subscribe. And now let me walk you through why these metrics we typically rely on can't actually answer the did they read it question. Page views are pretty straightforward. A page view records that the page loaded in someone's browser. It doesn't tell you if they scrolled past the first paragraph. It doesn't tell you how long they stayed. I've seen blog posts with thousands of page views where the average time on page suggests most people left within seconds. The page views look great in reports, but the content wasn't actually doing its job. And then we have engagement rate. This is a bit more nuanced. This is a Google Analytics specific metric, which is recorded when one of three things happens. The visitor spent at least 10 seconds with your site as the active tab, they visited a second page, or they converted. And here's what I find trips people up. Engagement rate is a session level metric, not a page level one. It can't tell you whether someone engaged with a specific piece of content. It can just tell you if they engage with the site as a whole. So we've got this gap. Neither metric can tell us did they read this piece of content. And this is where content consumption comes in. I developed this approach because I needed a better answer. Content consumption combines two behavioral signals. First is dwell time. Did they spend long enough on the page to actually read it? That counts the number of words in your content and calculates how long it would take to read at a reasonable pace. If the visitor stays at least that long, the dwell condition is met. And the second is scroll depth. Did they reach the end of the content? Not the footer, not the sidebar, the actual end of the content that they came to read. If both conditions are met on the same page view, that content was consumed. This is handy, but the extra bonus is that by tracking these two signals separately, we can diagnose why content is being consumed. And that brings us to the 4 behavior types. This is the part that I find most valuable when I'm analyzing content performance, so I'll walk you through them. First, we have consumers. These people stayed long enough and they scroll to the end. They read your content. This is what you want. Then we have skimmers. They scroll to the end, but they weren't there long enough to actually read it. They scanned the content quickly. They probably look for a specific answer or decide it's worth their time. If you're seeing a lot of skimmers, maybe your page is not compelling enough to slow them down. And then we have our tab collectors. And I know some of you are going to feel a little seen by this. That's okay. These visitors stayed long enough, they didn't scroll to the end, they opened your content, maybe got distracted, and thought, I'll come back to it later. You know who you are. I actually see a lot of tab collectors in Analytics Playbook content, and I'm okay with that, honestly. It means people are saving content to come back to later, and that's fine. I know I write long posts, I've accepted it. And lastly, we have bouncers. These people neither stayed nor scrolled. The content of the traffic source, maybe it's a mismatch. Maybe they were looking for something else entirely. What I appreciate about this framework is that it moves you from this content is performing to here's specifically what's happening and what we might do about it. Now, how to get content consumption working for you. I've put together 2 implementation paths depending upon your platform. If you're on WordPress, the team at Kickpoint and I have created a plugin that handles the content detection automatically for you. You'll configure what CSS selectors contain your content and what marks the end of your content. Then you'll import a GTM container that sends the events off to GA4. I've got a separate walkthrough video showing exactly how to find those CSS selectors. I'll link it in the description. And then if you're on any other platform, Webflow, Squarespace, Drupal, Wix, Custom Build, etc., I put together a GTM-only approach. It takes a bit more configuration work because you're mapping your pages to the right selectors, but it works on any site at all. Both approaches send the same 3 events to GA4, content dwell, content scroll, and when both happen, content consumed. The full step-by-step instructions from my blog post, link is in the description. And I've also included the GTM containers you can import to the container that you're already using. And if you aren't using GTM yet, this is a great place to start. Once you get things set up and you're collecting this data, here's what I recommend. First, register the parameters attached to the custom events as metrics in GA4. I have a list of exactly what to do in the post. Doing this makes them available in the report builder and in Looker Studio. Then you can start asking questions like which content pieces are people actually reading versus just loading? If you have a lot of tab collectors, are they eventually converting on a longer timeline? Is that high traffic page genuinely valuable, or is everyone just bouncing? You can also create audiences based on content consumption. For example, users who consume content on their first visit, do they convert at higher rates? That's the kind of insight that actually changes your content strategy. Everything you need is in the blog post link below, the WordPress plugin, the GTM containers, and the full step-by-step instructions for getting this set up. Let me know in the comments. Have you struggled with proving content performance? What metrics have you tried? I'd love to hear what you're seeing. And if you found this useful, please like and subscribe. It helps me reach more people who are also struggling with marketing analytics. Thank you so much for watching.